looks great. Kelp is an environmental powerhouse.
The innovations happening every day are amazing.
Off the coast of Long Island, just out of view, a potential climate solution is growing.
So this is sugar kelp.
Farmed alongside things like oysters and mussels, kelp is doing a surprising amount of work.
It is a food crop, a cosmetic crop. There's so many applications for kelp and some that haven't even been discovered yet.
Kelp grows quickly, which means it absorbs CO2 at a rate higher than other ecosystems, like eelgrass, salt marshes, and mangroves combined. And that makes it a good candidate to help combat some of the effects of climate change.
This is 100% sustainable. No fertilizer, no fresh water to grow this crop, and the benefits environmentally are profound. My name is Sue Wicks, and I am a kelp farmer and oyster farmer. I started my oyster farm when I was 50 after doing several other things. I was a professional basketball player. I played in Europe and Asia pre-WNBA, and then I was drafted by the New York Liberty in the first year in '97. It's kind of a dream come true for me to be able to work on the water.
And those cages, we're lifting them up now. They were all underwater all winter, so now we're lifting them back up. It's a little clearer. You'd be able to see the kelp, the lines there. I could see it's a little darker, but we'd have to be right on top of it for you to really see the water's a little churned up from all the wind.
I grew up here on Long Island. My father was a bayman, like his father and great-grandfather, and all the way back. It was a 400-year tradition, unbroken, working on the water. My father was presumably the last one because these horrific brown tides came and decimated the industry.
For years, Long Island was home to the largest bay scallop fishery on the East Coast. But harmful algal blooms, beginning in the 80s and 90s, led to the collapse of the industry.
Pollutants, septic, runoff, lawns, fertilizers, that's nitrogen getting in the water, which is an explosive growth accelerant for the algae. It chokes the life out of the water. That's when you have those fish kills, when you see thousands of fish that came into a dead zone that has no oxygen. They basically suffocate.
And human-driven carbon emissions pose a huge threat to marine life as well. The ocean absorbs carbon dioxide from the air, causing ocean acidification.
More CO2 into the ocean lowers the pH of the ocean seawater and makes it more acidic. And that is a danger to a lot of marine life. Specifically things that make a shell. In tropical regions, people think about coral reefs, and in our region, people think about bivalves that make shells.
The acidification, the pH level, doesn't allow oysters or clams or mussels to form properly because the acidity eats their little shells when they're so vulnerable. So we're not getting naturally propagating oysters anymore, native oyster.
In addition to showing that that's a problem, we then turn to seaweeds to look at that to be a solution. In our lab, we'd started working on seaweeds in general, probably about a decade before we were working even on kelp. So as they grow, they take carbon dioxide out of the water, they put oxygen into the water, they take nitrogen out of the water. 1 acre kelp farm, which is not too different from the one in Moriches Bay, can remove as much nitrogen as, up to 20 advanced septic systems. And so all of these things all have environmental benefits.
When you work in aquaculture, if you're a farmer, your partner is Mother Nature. Everything in nature seems to be a community. So the halo effect is obvious already. I've just been doing this 8 years, and I can see animals, creatures that weren't there and had been missing since I was a child, flourishing again.
Kelp farming has taken off in the U.S. in recent years. In fact, seaweed farming is the fastest growing aquaculture sector, according to the NOAA, and New York is just getting in the game. In 2021, Governor Kathy Hochul signed legislation to promote kelp aquaculture to restore water quality and marine life habitats, though proponents say efforts to expand the program have stalled.
Right now, I'd say we have about 35 farms on Long Island, oyster farms. I happen to be the first farm that's permitted to grow sugar kelp. I believe in kelp, and I believe in the environmental impact, positive impact that it has, and that it also can grow into a viable industry.
Right now, Sue's kelp is mainly being sold to local farmers, like Patty Gentry, to be used as a soil amendment.
When I started farming, I was very curious about how to feed the soil, how to feed the plants to help them become healthy. The bag of fertilizer has NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and those three minerals are considered very important for plant growth. But a plant also needs molybdenum, a plant also needs zinc, a plant also needs iron and aluminum, and kelp has that naturally. The ocean has more trace minerals per square foot than we would ever find in the soil. Each one of these has a little bit of kelp that's going to go in the ground. And so we're basically seeding these minerals as we put the plants into the ground.
That is my dream. Instead of fertilizer in your garden and in your lawn, chemicals that are creating these harmful algae blooms and also killing your soil, that you add this soil amendment that brings your soil back to life, pulling the excess out of the water, putting it in the soil where there is a deficiency. So that's my dream. That's the lowest hanging fruit and probably the least money I can make. But just because you don't get the money, it doesn't mean the value isn't the highest.
While more research needs to be done to really understand the impact seaweed could have on climate change, scientists and entrepreneurs are already experimenting with using seaweed as an alternative for petroleum-based plastics, in garments, even as an additive in concrete.
Anytime someone calls and wants some kelp, we're so excited, especially if they're doing experiments. We have some scientists that were coming that were for drought-resistant soil. They were making a hydrogel and bringing it out to Arizona. And that's the thing. We'll do our part. We're farmers. We'll let Mother Nature do hers. The farmers will do ours. And then entrepreneurs and scientists can do their parts.
To push forward, and sometimes you have to be an optimist no matter what. And I do see a lot of great potential for seaweeds to be an environmentally friendly solution for protecting aquaculture and improving water quality.
The more you look at nature, the more humbled you are. It takes care of itself. It's a perfect system. We just need to learn to step in time with it.
That is so important to remember, that whatever products come, whatever we do with it, whatever, it is doing such great work in our waterways.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.